everybody. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness. So let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Carol and Tanya and Peekaboo. Hi, Margaret. Lizzie, please be careful while you're driving. Hi, Viwi. Welcome, welcome. Let's see, who did I miss? Sorry, guys. Let's see. Hi, Allison. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you all believe this? Hi, Sue. Hi, Monica. Hi, Adrian. Oh my goodness. And it's like I haven't done a live stream in a while. And you know, I've had a lot of stuff kind of going on, nothing serious. I've been doing a lot of like massive spring cleaning in my home and like massive, like I have someone helping me. That's how much it is. So it's just been my weekends have been tied up with that and then work. You guys know how it is. Hi, Donna. Hi, Pinkulin. Thank you so much, everybody. I can't believe that I hit 25K. And the crazy thing, too, like on top of that, I hit 25K, I want to say yesterday. It was 4:48 PM, and I remember that because my friend was like, "You're gonna hit it at 4:48 PM," and she was absolutely right. I was like, "You need to go buy a lottery ticket because that is pretty amazing." Hi, Colson Cake, thank you. You know what? I didn't even check. Can you guys hear me? I hope you can hear me. I'm not muted, okay? I'm added to that bubble thing around my face is moving. So I think it's good. Oh, Tanya, thank you so much for gifting memberships. Thank you. 5 of them. Thank you so much. Hi, Krista. You've been subscribed for a few months. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that and I appreciate you. Hi, Steve. Hi, Beverly. Hi, Harpers. Oh my gosh, you think so? An additional 100K by end of summer? Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? Wow. It's kind of unbelievable, like I don't know if you guys can I haven't told you guys like in detail how long it takes to make these videos, but literally like hours, hours, hours and I do so much research and this is like other than work, this is pretty much everything I do. So, but I love it. That's the thing, right? Like you have to love what you're doing and I enjoy it so much. So much, you guys. Hi, Bettina. Thank you. I know, Mary Jane, 25.6. Thank you. I know, Susan. Isn't that amazing? So I posted a video yesterday and I don't know if you all saw it, but about 2 weeks ago, I posted a video where I just talked about some random clips that I had created. And for whatever reason, that was the highest performing video I've ever made until yesterday. I got like 90K views on it or something. I was blown away. And honestly, I spent so little time editing it. Like usually when I create a video, I spend, I don't know, time and a half of what it took to record the video to edit the video, maybe even more. So that one, because the clips are playing in the background, I don't edit so much. And it was just very much like a casual conversation. So it just did so well. So I wanted to do something similar yesterday. And I started off with a couple of the um, Platinum Jubilee videos. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just make the whole video about the Platinum Jubilee. And here we are, like all of a sudden, I think that video's at like 130,000 views yesterday. And so today I posted a follow-up to that video where I highlighted some of the comments on that video and kind of dug deeper into the story. So, oh my goodness, it's amazing, you guys. It's amazing. Hi. Oh my gosh, I always forget. Defenestrate. Defenestrate. I pronounced it correctly. Hi, Defenestrate. Thanks for being here. I appreciate all your comments on X. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, can you imagine, Lisbeth? 100,000? Yeah, I know. Yasmin is asking, do y'all think MM watches these videos about her and is also saying congrats? Yasmin, I absolutely believe she watches them. And like my personal opinion is she definitely watches the Sidley twins. And I say this for a couple of reasons because so before I started my channel, there were a ton of channels I would watch like every single day, and the Sidley twins were one of them. They had posted a video where they were talking about how one of Misan Harriman's photographs was probably photoshopped, and the Silly twins had their dad on, who is of like has owned a photography business for decades and just has a lot of experience in it. So he was just talking about the things that looked um suspicious, and it was all in his opinion, right? Like nothing was a fact. He was just saying to me, this looks suspicious, right? Literally the next day, Misan Harriman fired back and said like pretty bad things about the Sidley twins' dad. Like, it was awful. And anyways, so that's just one piece of evidence I think that shows that Megan at the very least watches the Sidley twins. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Think Beautiful. I appreciate it. Pinky thinks that she watches all of it. Thank you, Alice, for watching the Jubilee video. It was a good one. Yeah. Oh, Tanya thinks she watches RHR Gen. Yeah, RHR Gen 2, I bet. I bet for sure. Thank you, Jane. Hi, thank you. Hi, Tiny Dancer. Defenestrate says, I'll bet all Megan does is scroll on social media all day to see what we are saying about her. Absolutely, she does. Absolutely. And was it in Tom Bower's Revenge where it was said that while they were in Australia, that they literally spent the entire Harry and Meghan together, they spent all night just scrolling through social media, looking at the negative posts and negative things that were said about them. And actually, oh my gosh, this got me thinking. Just now it reminded me of a memory. I was just watching Mike Zero. I don't know if you all know him. I'm not very familiar with him. I've just seen a couple of his videos, and he was talking about how Megan is in talks with Amazon to start a new show. It would be a new type of reality show, and part of the reality show would focus on the negative social media comments that are said about her. Oh my god, can you guys imagine? I just yeah. I mean, she did kind of do something like that in her first episode, her first podcast episode, which I absolutely could not listen to, but, um, the her guest was talking about how she can't imagine how difficult it must be for Megan to see all of these negative things. Hi, Steve. Steve is saying once you start watching, you can't miss a show. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Steve. And I'm actually a lot funnier than the videos because when I'm making the videos, they're very serious content. Unless it's like there are some videos I do that I just kind of freeform and I just talk, and I think those show my humor. But there's other videos where it's like really research based, and I'm talking about the things I found. Um, but yeah, I think the live streams help me, show my sense of humor a little bit more. Hi, Joy. Welcome. Lisbeth says, if Meg doesn't, Harry and some of her team do. Palace staff said Harry watches, reads every bit of social media. Well, Harry, I hope you've been watching. I hope you saw that dirty look that Megan gave you at the Invictus Games. Oh yeah, Sexy Bee. Yes, absolutely. I believe she watches Megan's Mole too. Definitely. I think so too. Hi, Zephyr. I think Beautiful's asking, do I watch other Megxit channels or you don't have time? I absolutely watch other Megxit channels. They're just so good. And this is how I started. I was watching, I started with the Royal Rogue. That was the first one. And, then I got the Sidley twins, RHR Jen, Scandalous Media, I think is another one, Paula M, like Megan's Mole, Avid Gardner. I would watch all of them. And I still do. Absolutely. I feel like this community is everyone is just so supportive of one another. And yeah, it's really, I don't know, it's really, really beautiful. Steve says, "I bet she avoids your shows because you're so accurate." She might watch it and she'll be like, "Why is she calling me out?" That's not why I looked at him like that. He was annoyed. He had the audacity to get a present and they didn't give me a present. Of course he's gonna get a dirty look from me, right? Lisbeth says, "Between phone calls for pay for play awards and begging for new jobs, honestly, how do you have the time to do all of that?" Hi, Kate. Thank you so much. Okay, you guys. So I have a moderator, and the moderator, when the moderator types, it shows up as me. And the moderator says, "Harry, if you're out there, please don't forget to like and subscribe." Oh, it's so funny. That was hilarious. Hi, Claire Bear. Hi. Uh, Donna says, "Bad enough the Baldwins have a reality show on TLC. Please, no Harry and Meghan reality show." You know what's funny though, Donna? She when I was watching that Mike Zero episode, there was no mention of Harry as part of that reality show. It was specifically Megan was pitching the show, and apparently Amazon was impressed with it. I don't and it was gonna be about, like, her life basically, and cooking and fitness and social media and how, I don't know, not nice people can be. Yeah. Pinky says, "I heard H is going to do a doc about Princess Diana on Netflix. I hope not." I saw that too, and I really hope not. You know, the video I made today, I mentioned that I usually like, I have some form of empathy for Harry because I've been in a marriage with a narcissist, but the more I do these deeper dives into events, the more I can't excuse the behavior. And, like, specifically for the Platinum Jubilee, what if you look at articles at face value, like one at a time, it doesn't show you how awful they really were. So for example, there is one article that's about how Harry and Meghan got booed after they left the Platinum Jubilee. And then there's another article that says that Harry and Meghan demanded to take pictures with the Queen and their children, and the Queen said no. And then there were, I forget what the third one was. Um, Oh, the third one was about how, Harry and Meghan purposely missed the bus that was supposed to take them to St. Paul's Cathedral, and because of that, they ended up walking down, to their seats themselves, and then they demanded to have aisle seats, and so when you read these, like, one at a time, it's like, okay, big deal, right? But then if you look at the dates and when these things happen, so the alleged meeting with the Queen was on June 2nd. Now, whether or not children were there, in my opinion, I don't think children were there because they were not seen with any children. But in either case, there was a meeting between the Queen and Meghan and Harry that lasted 15 minutes after Trooping the Color. And they knew that she wasn't feeling well. And then it was the following day that was the Thanksgiving celebration, which was at St. Paul's Cathedral, which the Queen didn't attend, which tells you again, like, it reinforces that the Queen's not feeling well because there would be no way she would miss that. And they pull that stunt. And then, oh my gosh, it's just when you look at all of it together, I just can't. Yeah, Adrian, her level of pity has no bounds. I'm sorry, her level of petty has no bounds. Krista says Amazon better be prepared to lose a lot of money if they invest in her. That's exactly what Mike Zero was saying as well. Yeah. Defenestrate says Harry would do a doc on Diana just to get under William's skin. Harry lives to compete with William. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like Harry's mind and perspective is so messed up that a documentary that he would be involved in that's about Princess Diana, I believe would be highly inaccurate. or would be, from a highly skewed perspective, in my opinion. Lizzie says she is not entertaining enough to have a show all by herself. Either Harry co-hosts with her or she gets a good team that is talented. Yeah, or get the children involved, right? Not 20 says, I'm learning so much from your channel. Thank you. And thanks for watching, Not 20. Alice says, if he does this, Doc, it will be the death knell of his relationship with Prince William. I feel like they're probably at the point of no return between William and Harry. And I could completely understand why William would be pushed to that place. But there is still this part of me that once Harry is somehow that has separated himself from Meghan and goes under deep psychological like Cults and Cake would say, like he needs to be deprogrammed. And I think then, ooh, my air conditioner. Can you guys hear my air conditioner? I hope not. I'll turn it off if it's too loud. I hope it's not. But yeah. Okay, so Yasmin says, I just want to also understand something. What about all these friends and people around her over validating her, over complimenting her and licking her boots? What's in it for them? So, I can't handle it. I really can't. That's why when With Love Meghan came out, I could only make it to episode 4, like the end of episode 4, because by the time you get to episode 5, it's more than one person that's licking her boots, as you say, Yasmin. There's obviously something that they're getting out of it. So the thing with narcissists too is that they're charming. So some of these people may have legitimately fallen under her spell. So some of these people would believe the stories that she's spinning, the narrative she's spinning, and how awful her life has been and how awful it was in the royal family and all of these things. And then other people, they gain other things, money, fame, and I think I don't know a lot about the Hollywood and PR world, but it seems like an awfully big coincidence that a lot of the people that are coming out in support of her or that show up on her shows are with WME, who also has Meghan as a client. So that is a pretty big signal to me there too, that all of these things are superficial. Alice says, I'm sorry for him because it's sad he lost his mom, but he's a grown man with 2 children. It's high time he grew up and moved on. Yeah, I hear you, Alice. Lisbeth says, Harry had enough trouble with Spare. He knew nothing about Diana and phoned her old friends for interviews. They all said no. Oh, I didn't know that, Lisbeth. Carol says, also, Harry and Meghan are scared of William getting on the throne. Well, they should have thought of that 5 years ago. Come on. How could they not see that writing on the wall? You can't just go on Oprah and say these horrible things and then make a Netflix documentary and then show up at the Platinum Jubilee with clearly microphones that are hidden under your coats, allegedly, in my opinion, and then write Spare and expect that everything is going to be okay. Yeah. Susan says, I read that William has blocked it or is trying to block it. I hope he's successful in that. Oh, thank you, Min. Min's reminding everyone to please like. Thank you. Vivi says, I think William could be completely over the stupidity of them too. I know I would be if I was having a family member be toxic for years. Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally see that. Oh, okay, good. You can't hear the air conditioner. Great. So I don't have to sit here in a sauna. It's okay if my air turns on. Cass at home says, your last video had such beautiful pictures of our gracious late Queen Elizabeth. Thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. I felt like I was talking about her. And when I was first editing the video, I had Harry and Meghan videos playing while I was talking about her. And I was like, absolutely not. We need some Her Late Majesty the Queen's pictures up here. Donna says, have you heard Anne wants an audience with King Charles so H&M will retain their titles after King Charles III passes away? Yes, Donna, I have. And I actually, just a couple of days ago, I made a video about this, and goodness, I can't remember what the title of the video is, but the thumbnail is a photo of Meghan, King Charles, and William. Um, yeah, so I talked about what I thought about that, and I mean, just the audacity of it. I don't know that I believe the story, and many people that watched the video, they commented and they're like, "But do you think she would go to the UK for that?" And that's a valid point, right? Like, would she actually go over there? I don't know. I don't know. Carol says, "I just wonder if Harry was like this before, but the palace PR has hidden all of Harry's nasty traits." I feel there was some of it, Carol. I do believe that. And I'm actually doing research for a video about how being with a narcissist could really bring out a lot of the hidden negative stuff that's like lurking. So, yeah. Penny says, "Do you think Meghan refers to herself and Harry as M and H because the senior royals signed their correspondences with their initials?" It could be. It could be. Um, I feel part of it when she calls Harry H, it's because, in my opinion, she's reduced him to a single letter. Like when she talks about herself or refers to herself, she's Megan. You know, she but or when Harry calls her something, it's Meg. At least there's multiple letters involved. Um, but yeah, yeah. Pinky says Em won't be able to get a job if she loses her title. She can barely get a job now, too, right, Pinky? Tanya says Huggy is full of herself. She won't go back to the UK. Yeah. Susan says, plus Netflix is a big deal. Everyone wants their own show. Yeah, and I have a feeling that after this, season one, part two of With Love Megan comes out, even they're calling it season two, but I think it's season one, part two comes out, that um, it's that contract is gonna end. I don't think the show did very well. I think maybe in the beginning people had an interest watching it, and I just couldn't do it. After 4 episodes, I was like, I can't put myself through this anymore. Adrian says, "I'm pretty sure WME is the only reason she's had anybody on her show or to interview." I think so too, Adrian. I think so too. D. Amato says, "Do you think Megan had to go to work because all of Harry's money is gone?" I do. I think they are out of money. And I think she wants to be able to sustain her lifestyle, and as soon as she finds a way to do that without Harry, that marriage is over, and I think that's why she's throwing so many things at the wall to see which one sticks. So so that she could just, finish up with him, in my opinion. Carol says Harry could have had 10 more years of relevance, but he decided to quit his royal duty and trash his family. He chose that. Lizzie, he did. And I feel like he could have even more than that. Like, if you look at the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, right? Um, why am I blanking on his name? Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie. They're completely relevant, right? Even though it's his brother that's king, how active they are in the monarchy. Hi, open-minded. Welcome. Walks for says, "I don't watch Drew Barrymore or her movies. I'm guessing it for rating. Anyone around will do it for money." Yeah, I think so too. Where did the comments go? I got left behind. Oh, here we go. No, wait. Where did I go? Sorry, guys. Um, I don't know what happened. Okay, here we go. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Okay, Jane says they are pulling everything out now as William will sort them out. Such jealous spite. Absolutely, Jane. Krista says she got a lot of nerve to demand to keep her titles after everything she's done. Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does have a lot of nerve. Elizabeth says Harry should have thought of that yesterday, when he said the royals forced him out. Totally untrue, but I bet it stressed Charles. I mean, which is it though? Did they force him out, or are they trying to get him back in? I don't know. His brain, I don't know. I think his perspective is like majorly skewed. Hi, Abertasso. I'm glad you're here. Oh, you're grading essays and presentations. Thank you so much, Abertasso, for spending this time here. Good evening, Just Dawn. Hi. Mean Eileen says the royal family is better off keeping him away. Charles doesn't want to accept it, but William knows. I think so too. I agree, Mean Eileen. Pinky Lynn says if it's to keep her title, she would go, especially if they take away the kids' titles. Yeah, she may go if to keep her title. Yeah. Colton Cake says also Wallace Simpson uses just initials in her letters. Oh, that's interesting, Colton Cake. I didn't know that. Thank you, Open Minded. Can you believe it? I know. I can't believe it. How fast it's growing. And I was saying this earlier, that I hit 25K at 4:48 p.m. yesterday, and I've gained over 1,000 subscribers overnight. Um, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Koala says she has no respect for Harry as a prince, as a man, or a person. Yes, Koala. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so, Koala, now that you said this, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my experience when I was married. So, I was married to a narcissist. I didn't know he was a narcissist until after I left. So, I was married to him for about 10 years. We had been dating and engaged about 2 years before that. So, we were together about 12 years. And in the first like 3, 4 years of our relationship, which included both dating, being engaged, and married, he ended the relationship with me 10 times, 9 or 10 times. I lost count. I didn't recognize it at the time, but that's the discard cycle, right? Like he discarded me. And then the last time that he discarded me, he came back and he was like, "I won't do it again." And I was like, "Okay, I'm telling you right now, this is the last time. The next time it's over, I'm not coming back." So that was 2013. And what happened is that somewhere between 2013 and 2020, he had discarded me, but not without telling me he had discarded me, right? So I've mentioned this before, just because a narcissist discards you doesn't mean that they completely end it with you, but they look at you like how Koala is saying. She has no respect for Harry as a prince, as a man, or a person. My ex was like that with me towards the end of our relationship. Like he could look right through me. It's so cold to be completely indifferent to someone, to I don't know how to describe it. It's like they look at you like you're a waste of air, like they're not even gonna spend any time to yeah, so I feel like Megan does look at him like that, and that's a very lonely place to be. Okay, Lizzie says, I have my own theory, and it's because she doesn't want you to correlate Harry and royalty. She wants to be first. He is her husband, not the other way around. It's so narcissistic. Yeah, Lizzie, that's a great point. She's been trying to like lower him, and she has to knock him off the figurative throne, right? Yeah, I totally see that. Defenestrate says, and probably thinks if she can just get King Charles alone, she can manipulate him to get what she wants. And that reminds me, do you guys remember that story that when Harry and Meghan got married, she wanted to live like either within Windsor Castle and whatever it was where the queen was living at the time, and she wanted, I think, to be able to manipulate her because Megan in her head thinks she's so convincing. She really thought she could influence the queen, and I think you're right, Defenestrate, that she thinks she can influence King Charles if she can just be alone with him. Or you know what? Another way to say that is if she can isolate him, which is something narcissists do, right? Alice says, I think she calls him that to differentiate him from Harry Henry, which were what he was when he was with his family. Think Beautiful says, "Are you truly surprised by some of the clips you find?" Yes, Think Beautiful, yes. I just laugh and laugh and laugh. I just found one right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, you know how we've all seen that exaggerated laugh that Megan does where she, like, throws her head back and then goes forward? We've seen that laugh from the front, like, where she's facing the camera. We've seen that laugh from the side, but I found a video of that laugh from the back. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm gonna make that clip probably the next few days. It's just ridiculous. Like, it's like we've seen it from every angle. I've never seen it from the back though. So it's funny. Elsa says, I think M thought that H had a lot more money than he does. Absolutely. I think so too. Absolutely. Lisbeth says now she wants to be famous any way she can. She loves showbiz. Somehow she wants to earn an Oscar. Lisbeth, I think Megan, in my opinion, has three main motivators. Everything she does is either for fame, power, or money. Any of those three. And yeah, she'll do anything for the fame, and all of it. Goodness, which video did I talk about that? I think it was the video where I talk about her visiting King Charles. How yes, it is that video where if she's able to retain the Duchess title, it gives her all three. Yeah, so if you guys get a chance, go watch that video. I talk about it in there. Carol says Megan resents Harry and their children. Yeah, I think so too, Carol, that they're royal. She always has to bring them down to her level. Megan is nothing without Harry. I think so too, Carol. I agree. Hi, Duchess of Camelot. Welcome. Pinky says the best show she could do would be her talking about her life, but the truth this time, all of the truths. She would make a lot of money. Oprah 2.0. Can you imagine? Oh, sorry, guys. I hit my mic. Can you imagine? I. It feel like if that happened, I would feel like I was in an alternate universe, right? Oh, mean Eileen, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Lisbeth says, that's the Harkles' main problem. They can't remember what they said a few days ago. When they left, they were happier to leave than pigs in the mud. Yeah, and they thought, they were going to greener pastures. Once they left, their very first engagement was speaking in Florida at I don't remember, some business thing or something or another, and I think they got paid between half a million and $1 million. So they thought people were gonna fly them on private jets to these locations. They would make half a million dollars just for giving a half an hour speech. That's what they thought they were gonna get, and they didn't realize that you need to work. You can't just that people are not gonna throw money at you if you're not bringing any value. Yeah. Hi, Ocean. Welcome. Defenestrate says, we don't need an alternate royal family in the USA. There's no reason for them to have titles anymore. Exactly. Exactly. Jane says he has turned into a completely different person, which he himself quoted. We all knew he was a liability, but he was funny and relatable. Now he is just a spoiled, I'm not going to say that word. I used to like him and not now. I agree, Jane. Our hearts all broke. I was actually talking to my mom yesterday, and my mom, my mom's like, she has a lot of empathy for him. And it was because I told her, I think it's in Lady Colin Campbell's book, that when Harry was very young, like 3 or 4 years old, something happened and he said, "Well, it doesn't matter. William's going to be king, not me. Or I'm never going to be king, so what does it matter?" Something like that. So my mom was like, "See, isn't that so sad for a child to feel like that at such a young age?" So I think they I don't know, for a child to recognize that so young, and we know that so many people overcompensated and spoiled him, like you said, Jane, and to end up with someone like Megan who treats him so horribly, who has literally turned him into a spare. Yeah. Alice, I really like that. Titles are a privilege, not a right. Thank you so much, JB. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Adrian. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. Aussie Ann says, congratulations on your milestone. So, so proud of you. Thank you. Thank you, Aussie Ann. You guys are the best. This is the best community. These lives are so much fun. I have so much fun with all of you. Yasmin says, I don't know if it's too personal, but what was his reason for discarding you? I'm so sorry you had to go through this. So, let's see. I'm going to give my perspective on what I think happened. So, there was a part of me after that 2013 breakup that built a wall. So, up until 2013, I put my ex on a pedestal, and like the anxiety I would have to like make him happy, and like I would fawn over him and compliment him and all of these things. But after 2013, I just couldn't. It's almost like a little bit of the um, rose-colored glasses came off. Now, they didn't come off completely, because I would still do those things, but I just wasn't as attentive, as fawning over him, like the way people fawn over Megan in With Love, Megan. And I think he didn't like that. You know, he wanted someone that was going to build him up. So yeah, I think he probably cheated on me, I'm pretty sure. Honestly, not that it matters. It really doesn't even bother me because I'm so much happier now, and I know now what I was dealing with then, you know? So, um, where was I? What was I gonna say about this? Um, but yeah, so I think that's what happened in my marriage. Aussie Ann says, "So proud of you. Congrats." Thank you so much. Thank you. Defenestrate says, "So sorry you had to go through that. I'm glad you are divorced and rid of him. Valuable lessons learned." Yes, thank you, Defenestrate. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys a story. So my dad, he passed away in 2022. But when I separated, okay, wait, let me rewind. My dad is a very traditional man. Not politically. He was actually left-leaning politically, but in like I don't know. Basically, when I told him I was gonna get divorced, I thought he would be disappointed. And my dad had seen my ex and I break up so many times that he said, "Are you serious that you're getting divorced?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "This is the happiest day of your life. You don't know it yet, but you need to throw a party to celebrate." And that, like, I was so shocked by that. It's exactly like you were saying. It was a celebration. There's this picture of Nicole Kidman after she divorced Tom Cruise, when she's walking out of her lawyer's office and she looks so happy. I don't know if you've all seen that, but they say that might be what I looked like. You know, in the beginning, I was very sad, of course. Um, but then the more distance you have, the more you look back and you're like, wow, that wasn't okay. What he said wasn't okay. What he did wasn't okay. Yeah. Yasmin says the craziest thing is it's not in her advantage to completely discard him. She needs him more than he needs her. Yeah, absolutely, Yasmin. I agree. I agree. And then there's this ego, because at the same time, like, I think subconsciously she knows this, but then her ego can't accept it because do you all remember there have been so many reports that have come out every time Megan embarks on some new project? If it doesn't do well, she blames it on Harry. Oh, it's because of Harry. Or like she didn't want Harry involved in the Netflix show With Love, Megan because um, it would make it so that it's not successful, and then he wasn't involved and it's still not successful. Like, it's hard for her to wrap her mind around she's the problem, right? Lizzie says, "Cool to be indifferent to someone you love. That's why it's easy for a narcissist. They only love themselves." Yes, absolutely. Mean Eileen says, "Yes, narcs Use you plain and simple. Yes. JB says, my father was a narc and it was eye-opening to hear his deathbed regrets. Wow, JB. Well, I'm sorry that you lived that, and I'm sorry for your loss, and I can't even I can't even imagine that. I hope that the regrets that he did have were things that bring peace to you. Tanya says, the violent narc I was with eventually walked away. It took me 4 years to get over him. I'm glad that you're over him. I'm glad that you're safe, Tanya. And, these types of things, like, you they leave a lasting impact on you, seriously. Krista says, William never wanted to be left alone with her. Yeah, honestly. And can't blame him, right? Can't blame him. Koal says, just my opinion, she won't come back to UK because too many questions for proof will be asked about in Visit Kids. Yeah, could be. Could be. MW says, congratulations on 26K. Thank you so much. Krista says, and the seal clap. Hi, Kelly. Thank you. Thank you so much. Carol says, Neil Sean reported that Megsy wore his grandmother's perfume. Charles fell for it at first. Charles got over it due to Megan's actions. Okay, this is one of two. Let me see if I can find the second comment, Carol. Okay, Carol, if I don't find it, I will get to it. Okay, so sorry, but that was the first part, and I didn't realize that Meg wore his grandmother's perfume. Like, so these types of people, and it's weird because I feel like my stepmom is like this too. They tap into um, primal things, and actually, another example of Megan is the predatory way she looks at people. Like, these are things that are tapping into the primitive brain, I feel. And it's, and the sense of smell is something that's like, I don't know how to describe it or how to say it, but it really has like a knee jerk reaction and brings you memories. It's, um, you don't have to think about it for it to happen. It's like instinctual. Lizzie says Prince William and Princess Catherine lived in a small apartment on palace grounds up until Prince George was born. Meghan thought she was going to get all the perks as soon as she got there. Yeah, she did. Can you imagine living on palace grounds and, you know, y- the, you guys, I hate driving. Okay, I hate driving. So to have a life where you don't have to drive, people will take you places, like, that's a dream come true. Like, even that would be such a dream for me. You guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna have a sip of my tea. I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, sorry. Thank you. Steve says, you deserve it. You work really hard and you are so gracious with all your replies. And thanks. 100K soon. Perhaps Megzy should take note how to be a success. Like, if only Netflix would give content creators that money, people that will really work hard. And yeah, I can't imagine taking all of that, um, all of that opportunity for granted. I can't even imagine. Lisbeth says, worked when she first went to the UK. She love bombed Charles when she first went over and he bought it. The Queen became suspicious. Everyone else had her sussed from the start. Yeah. Hi, Only Bee. Thank you. Hi, Lulu's mom. Hi, thank you. Tanya says when they came to Australia, they thought they were rock stars when they were actually just rocks. Very well said, Tanya. Thank you. Elizabeth says $750,000. Harry gave a speech at JP Morgan conference. A banker said that Harry moaning about his mom for an hour just doesn't cut it. And this is what they thought. They thought they're going to leave the royal family and they're going to get hundreds and thousands of dollars given to them. And they don't even have to pay to get there. Someone will fly them in a private jet. Unbelievable. Hi, Janana. Thanks for being here. Defenestrate says, can you imagine what the Queen thought about living at Windsor with her? The Queen would pack her bags. She'd be like, look, you need to go because I can't live with you around here. Defendant Straight says, yes, I think she wanted to kick Catherine out of the way and take her place, maybe even tried to take William too. I think she absolutely wanted to have William, and I don't remember where I read this or saw this, but that she would and I mean, this is what's the word I'm looking for? Completely fictionalized or whatever, but, um, Megan would potentially prefer to be William's mistress rather than Harry's wife. Like, she could get more perks or she feels like she could, um, in that kind of relationship. And this is just something I heard one time, and I feel like it could ring true. Opinion says, could Harry be a sociopath or just emotionally backwards or perhaps both? So I think Harry's is very complicated because of the trauma he had in childhood. Like, are his reactions because of what happened with his mom and having this intense fear of the media, of the press, where and then to have someone that knows what your deepest fears are and plays them against you, I don't know. I don't know. It could be both. Um, but yeah, like with Megan, I feel it's obvious. And for me, Megan is so much like my stepmom that I just I can't not see it, like the facial expressions and all of that. But with Harry, I'm not so certain. Margaret says, I think the Queen's shudder at the wedding said it all. Thank you, Margaret. And actually, I haven't analyzed the wedding yet. I need to get to that. Quell says, just my opinion, if husband ever divorced her before she gets one red cent, they have to force her to sign an NDA that lasts 20 years, no talk of anything to do with Has or royal family or any connection. Yeah. I mean, it's about time someone, turns the table and makes her sign the NDA, right? Oh, thank you, Coral Sand. I appreciate it. Yasmin says, thank you for sharing bits of your story and perspective. It really helps to not get trapped in these toxic cycles. It's absolutely important. And at the time, I didn't have any resources. I didn't know what I was dealing with. And I feel like there was actually, when I first separated, there was someone I found who was talking about romantic relationships with narcissists, and that kind of helped me understand a little bit. But to be able to use Harry and Meghan to illustrate what it could look like is a completely different. Like, it really brings a story to light. Like, you can really make connections with, oh, well, when Megan said this to him, that was so similar to when my ex did, X, Y, or Z. Yeah. AGA says, I got out of a narc relationship too. This is why I can relate to these videos. I'm sorry that you experienced that, AGA, and I'm glad that you're here. Duchess of Camelot says, your dad was a wonderful man. Yeah. Yeah. He was really funny. Like, I couldn't believe but he was like, "You need to throw a party." Like, my jaw dropped to the floor. I couldn't believe that. Oh, thank you, Diz fan. Diz fan says, I knew after the Oprah interview what a narcissist is. I was in a brutal friendship and they had me at my most vulnerable. Took me 2 years to get out. I'm glad you're out, Diz fan. Um, yeah, I'm glad you're out. Carol says, can you imagine the Queen Mother, Princess Margaret, and Prince Philip were alive in fighting condition? Those three would have run circles around Meghan. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I would hope that Megan would have been intimidated by that. Seriously. Aussie Ann says, I had a drink with a friend when I got divorced. I wasn't in the frame of mind to do parties. Same, Aussie Ann. And that's the thing, like, you're after you get out of these things, you're in a vulnerable place. That's why they say to not jump into another romantic relationship because you'll end up gravitating towards something that feels familiar, and what feels familiar is a relationship with a narcissist. So, I actually ended up doing that. I'll tell you guys another time, but I definitely, when I divorced my ex-husband, um, several months later, I started dating someone, and I was like, wow, these patterns are very similar. So since then, I've been living the single path, and I think it's good because now I feel if anything toxic comes towards me, whether it's at work or in family, in friendships, or romantically, it just rocks my world because I have so much peace. The way that I like to describe it is that if you're in a boat and you're in what's the word I'm looking for? Like stormy waters, you won't feel if a wave comes by, right? But if you're in peaceful waters, even the smallest wave, you'll feel it, you know. And I feel like that's where I am in my life. I'm in calm and still waters. Yeah. Sussex on this says, congrats on your milestone. Love your content. Thank you so much. Thank you. Opinion says, there is a chance Megan will have enough on Harry that could land him in jail. I don't know. I mean, there there have been some horrible things coming out of Hollywood and, you know, that we're learning about. So anything could happen, right? I don't know. Steve says people are drawn to what's familiar. A narcissist is familiar to you and you had to go through it to grow. It's great. Now you're happy and content. Thank you so much, Steve. Yeah, I'm very, very happy to be here. Disfan says it was during a family tragic loss. I'm sorry, Disfan. And that's when you're so vulnerable too, right? I'm sorry that you lived through that, and I'm sorry for your loss. And I hope that you have a lot of strength now and peace, and yeah. Carol says, I'm sorry for your difficult time. Hopefully, you have come to the other side with more strong and positive outlook. I definitely have, Carol. I definitely have. I'm in a good place. I love my life, you know. Carol says Megan was disgusting to a family that gave her everything. Can you and that's it's like how can you what an opportunity. What a fall from grace. Like, and I think that's part of the reason why people are so fascinated because she could have she could have done so much, you know, it's amazing. Defenestrate says scents are very powerful. Megan would have used perfume to manipulate. Yeah, exactly, Defenestrate. So, you know, the rumors are that she did that on her first date with Harry, and I didn't realize that she did it with King Charles, allegedly, using the Queen Mother's perfume. I think that's what the comment said earlier. Oh, thank you so much, Margaret. Thank you so much for being here and being so supportive. Defenestrate says yes. WNC could see right away. Yeah, William tried to warn her, but he wouldn't listen. Yeah. Thank you, honeybee. Thank you. Mean Eileen says Prince William was awesomely passive aggressive. Loves it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a video where I do a compilation of Megan looking longingly at William. It's hilarious. Sunflower in SFE says, I never knew about narcissism until I learned about it on your channel. Wow, Sunflower. Well, you know what? I hope that you don't experience it in your relationships. And yeah, I'm glad you found my channel. I'm glad you're here. Alice says, I felt so sorry for the late queen. All she wanted was to leave the crown stable and happy for Charles to take over, and H&M ruined that. Can you imagine? I agree, Alice. Carol says, we got to remember William had front row seats to the destruction of his parents' marriage. Yeah, and he was older than Harry, so he could see a lot more, or he could understand it a lot more. Mean Eileen says she thought she would end up as queen when all she was appropriate for was a court jester. I'm sorry. Yes, Mean Eileen, absolutely. Defenestrate says, oh, if Anne thought she had the least chance with William, she would have dumped Harry so fast. I think so. Yes, Steve, she does stare at William's bum. I know. That one was someone earlier asked, like, do I ever feel shocked when I see these videos? And some of them, like this one where she checked out his bum at the Commonwealth Day 2020 as they were exiting, I had to do a double take. I was like, what did I just see what I thought I saw? And I absolutely did see what I thought I saw. Alice says, more than a front row. Diana used him as an emotional crutch. Yeah. Do I have any contact with my stepmom, Susan? No, thank goodness. No, 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 I don't. I do not. So after my dad passed away, um, that my entire dad's side of the family, those relationships have ended. And that's why I say that I've come to a very peaceful place, because there was a lot of toxicity there. I mean, especially with my stepmom as a malignant narcissist, but malignant narcissists don't operate in a vacuum, right? Like the things my stepmom did to me, my dad's family witnessed, and they did not stand up for me. And they were adults. It's just really, yeah, it's very difficult to understand how adults can look and watch these things happen. This actually reminds me of a video I did a couple days ago. Oh, sorry guys, I was just moving. About Princess Charlotte and Megan, and how that was the story that made me realize that Megan is a malignant narcissist. And that's what got me really into studying her, because how do you bully a 3-year-old child? It doesn't make any sense. And then as I was making that video, I realized that, what's her name? Jessica Mulroney was there when Megan bullied a 3-year-old child. And Jessica Mulroney did not stand up for the 3-year-old child. There are people like that. Like, if I saw someone treat a child that way, I'd be like, what in the world do you think you're doing? Seriously. I just, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Melissa says, I think William fit the mold of being a royal child, and Harry never did. And in a normal family, maybe they could have done different things for Harry to help him. I feel like, Melissa, they did so much for him, though. Like, I feel like they had access to a lot more to help Harry. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you so much, Ms. Ray. Thank you. Susan says, Lady C said today they don't do NDAs, that MM would break it and lawsuits would be filed. She said they avoid NDA with her since MM has. That's a good point, right, Susan? Like, if Megan says anything, how many people on this planet actually believe her, right? Carol says, Catherine was the only person in his life William would be goofy with. Her parents set the correct example. Yeah, I think so too. I love their relationship. Christine says, when I got divorced, my dad tried to cheer me up by reminding me Kim Kardashian and Kanye were getting divorced too, and telling me that Kanye was at the time single. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Joy is asking, would you ever get married again? If I met the right person, absolutely. I don't know how to, like, I really love the way my life is right now. I have so much peace and freedom. And you guys, like, this channel, how I was saying earlier that this YouTube thing has become my life. Like, I'm not kidding. If I'm not doing my 9 to 5 job, I'm working on YouTube videos. And I mean, like, I'm literally in bed watching TV and making my video clips that I post on X. Like, it's literally all day, every day. And if I couldn't do that, like, I wouldn't have the freedom to do that. I don't know. But then I also feel like with time, maybe I would get more efficient with making content. Yeah. I don't know. But, as I was saying, I love the way my life is right now. And if I meet someone that's great, great. It's about being happy with where you are. And I'm happy where I am. Grain says, oh, thank you, Grain. Grain says, on recording devices, I think in UK it's one-party consent, meaning you can record if you're a part of the conversation but can't necessarily publish. That's interesting. So I think in the US you can't do that. And I'm sorry if I get it wrong, you guys. But that's interesting that only one person needs to know that the recording is happening. But I think people were wise to them, like they knew the Oprah interview had just come out because that was 2021. And I wonder if by the Jubilee, there were the announcement made that the Netflix documentary would be out in 6 months. So I don't know. Tanya says we have quite a group of NARC survivors. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Wonderful community. I love you guys. Carol says Philip saw all the fallout of Charles and Diana's marriage. That is when Philip insisted the Queen meet with William once a week. I read Diana was jealous of William's close relationship with Philip. Oh, I didn't know that. But I do really like that the Queen guided William so much. And I feel if only Harry could have done the same. Yeah. Melissa says, yeah, she wasn't a perfect mother like he imagines her. She was very human and made mistakes. Exactly. We all are, right? We absolutely all are. Koala says, just proves with all NARC survivors, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah. Oh, hi, Dell. Welcome. In one of my latest videos, you said that you wished you were on the live. And guess what? You're here on the live. Koala says, loves how Catherine saw William uncomfortably fixing his scarf and put herself in the middle. I need to go and look at that video. Yes, yes, we have an amazing community here. Koala says, what another great live, loving it. Thank you, Koala. And we didn't even really get into funny questions today. Today, I wanted it to be kind of a conversation with all of us. So yeah, it's great. But next time I will have funny questions prepped for all of you and we'll have a good laugh about it. Hide Out Loud says, congratulations, I'm traveling, just got to my hotel room and seeing your live. Yay, Hide Out Loud. I hope you're having a great vacation or a great traveling. I'm not sure if that's for work or pleasure, but I hope you're having a good time. Melissa says, because deep down, Jessica knew if she stepped a toe out of line, she would be out. Yeah, you know what, Melissa, I completely agree with that, but I put myself in that position, and if I saw that, I'd be like, I don't need friends like that. I don't care. If you want to kick me out from your wedding party, bye. You're a terrible person. But that's the difference, right? Between, I don't know, maybe between people that have experienced this type of behavior. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Jessica's a mean girl too. They kind of gravitate together. Um, Defenestrate says it's difficult to imagine bullying a 3-year-old child. I know. Jessica Mulroney was one of the flying monkeys until she got dumped after Megan used her up. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Amber says, love your video so much. You have a very calming voice and great content. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate it. Dell says, YouTube can be a nice place when you find good people. Those here. Absolutely, Dell. Absolutely. Koala says, I hope you do meet someone that will treat you with much love and respect. Thank you so much, Koala. You're so sweet. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Rebecca says, I was raised by 2 narcissists and I was the scapegoat who was blamed for everything. I was not allowed to make a single mistake. They both, I'm not going to say that word because YouTube flags certain words, but verbally, physically, and psychologically. And I'm so sorry to hear that. And when it's both parents or, raised by 2 of them, who do you even trust? Who do you even talk to, Yeah, I'm sorry you experienced that, Rebecca, and I hope you're doing well. Mean Eileen says, love yourself and love your solitude. Absolutely. Absolutely. Pinky says, at this point, do you think Anne misses the social events in the UK like his friend's wedding? Her title would be above any of the guests. I think on a subconscious level, yes. And I think that's why she keeps trying to recreate what she had when she was in the royal family. That's why they had those faux royal tours to Colombia and Nigeria. She's trying to recreate the respect that she was getting. But she can't admit to herself that she's messed up so bad, in my opinion. Yeah, that's what I think. Jane says, I took a very happy 5 years on my own after a nasty narc husband. Best days. Then 12 years ago, I did what I said I would never Again, Duan married my now husband, and he is the complete opposite. I'm very happy for you, Jane. That's amazing. That's amazing. Let's see. Opinion says Megan, I believe, deliberately got the bridesmaids' dresses made too large. Yeah, she had to keep all the attention on herself, right? Yeah. Alice says the queen came from a large family, and when a member of her family suffers a loss, her instinct was always to pull those people closer. She did with the Mountbatten children and with others. Yeah. Yeah. Defenestrate says, I'm happy William had so many years to be mentored by his grandmother. I see so much of the queen in him and in Catherine too. Yep. You guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to take another sip of water. I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, I'm back. Me and Eileen says Gwyneth was using her. She is testing the waters. She went into the wrong waters. That was a bad move, Gwyneth. Totally bad move. Steve says, doesn't bind together. Are they describing her? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Steve, and I just feel, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that combination of words at the, I feel like it'll come across as something bad. So, Koala says, I struggle to think there are so many narcs in the world walk amongst us. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, C. Thank you, thank you. Melissa says, if you look at Charlotte's dress, it's atrocious. Sleeves are uneven, hem is all wonky, the threads hanging off. If I were Catherine, I would be pissed too. And Catherine had even more to be angry about, right? Because she knew about how awful. I mean, she knew that Megan had bullied her child, and not and like had bullied her child, and also bullied staff and countless other people. Alice says, I would agree. He has his father's temper, definitely. I think she did very much. I think she reminded him that whatever happened in the past, he was the only parent he had left. I'm lost in the conversation, Alice. Sorry. Um, Mean Eileen says Hollyweird has-beens are always trying to gain relevance again. So just think of Hollyweird as a cutthroat game, and it makes it easier to understand. It Yeah, that makes sense, Mean Eileen. And Megan, no matter what she does, she's gonna get publicity, and it's gonna be negative. So I guess if someone wants their name in the papers, she's a she's a she's a good bet to associate with her. CCC says she's in talks now with Amazon to do a lifestyle show. She wants $150 million off Amazon. And actually, CC, I saw that video. Right, was that Mike Zero's video? And I read that was specifically for. Oh goodness, I lost my train of thought. That was the production cost. I don't know if that included her salary, but I read that was the production cost. Let's see. Andrea says, I love what you do. I've learned so much. Narcs are beyond belief. I'm still harmed by one. Harry, we know, is as they're all the same. Horrible, cruel regards from the UK. Thank you, Andrea. And I'm sorry that that you're still harmed by one. And I hope that you're able to have some peace and yeah. Queen says, how long will it take for M to hit 3 million Insta followers? She's not getting much traction. It depends when money hits her bank account. Once she has money to buy the followers. That was a great question. Great. I hope you guys laughed. I hope you found that funny as much as I did. Jane says, I think that Charlotte looks so much like Diana. That's why MM hates her. I think so too. I think that Megan is so envious of Charlotte, because she is a princess, because she I don't know how to say this, but I feel like one of the reasons my stepmom didn't like me, was because I was a reminder that my dad was married before. And I think Megan's fascination with William makes her extremely envious of Catherine, and that anger also spills onto Charlotte, in my opinion. Let's see. Where did I go? Susan says there's a video of H patting Catherine on the butt at an event with William on the other side. Oh, I didn't know that. Yikes. A. Bertasso says, your voice is so interesting. You're an effective speaker, but your voice is also very calming. Thank you. You guys, the other day I was talking to a friend of mine and she fell asleep on the phone 3 times. And, like, every time she would be like she hasn't been able to have good sleep, so she was like, "Your voice is just so soothing, I just keep falling asleep." It was the best, like, few minutes of sleep I've ever had. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Carol says, "The kicker is Catherine had to put a whole royal wedding on with no drama. The flower girl dresses and little men for William and Catherine's was exceptionally beautiful." Absolutely. Um Carol also says, "Charlotte reminds me of Diana and the Queen." I think so too. Alice says, "I know it's a dark question, but what do you think Megan's reaction to Casey's death will be? Will she try and get closer or cut and run?" That's an interesting question. Well, she doesn't, as a narcissist, she's not going to have any genuine feelings of loss, right? Because I don't think she forms real connections with people. That's a really good question. I haven't thought about that. She'll play to whatever will be her most advantage, obviously, right? And I feel she's not gonna get much any positive thing from associating with William. So I feel she'll cut and run, and she'll try to badmouth, William. And you guys, I read something very scary, on Quora yesterday about how if and I mean, I really like it's completely speculative and I hope it never happens. And I hate that I even have to say these words out loud. But should it come time where Prince George, would have to step up to be king because he's under 18 or under 21, I forget which age, that the next person in the line of succession that's over the age of 18 or 21, that's also, I forget what the requirement was, that person would be king, and that person is Harry. That's what was being said on these message boards. So, you guys, if you've heard that, please let me know if that's false. I really hope that that's false. Like, I mean, that's awful. That's awful. Um, Green says, "How will M celebrate her 50th birthday? It's coming up soon, right?" Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. What do you guys think she'll do? Will she bake herself her own cake and put jam in in between each of the layers? What do you guys think? Defendant Straight says Princess Charlotte has the beautiful life that Meghan has always wanted since she was a child. Yeah. And yet at the same time, nothing would ever be good enough. I feel nothing would ever satisfy her. Melissa says, "I think Meg's response to King Charles's passing will be determined by wherever she's at by then, financially and reputation wise." I think so too, Melissa. Yeah. Alice says, "Actually, that's one of the few things that they're not doing. Harry is higher up the line of succession, so his marriage took precedent. I think that's why it got moved." Oh, meaning the wedding, Princess Eugenie's wedding? Yeah. Koala says, wonder if that's the reason she's hanging on to Harry to see what inheritance he gets once his father passes. Yikes. I mean, yeah, that's a very good speculation. I could totally see that. Um, let's see. Nina says, "Are you guilty like me of commenting on Megan's stories that she's not a real Duchess?" No, Nina, I don't at all respond because I don't remember who was saying it, but I feel like any evidence she has of being bullied, she's collecting. And if, for example, Amazon does give her that show where it allows her to talk about how she's been bullied, these are things that are going to come out, I feel. So I try not to directly comment on it because then it's in her inbox. And what if, yeah, I don't know. I don't, I feel like those would be used against us. But then again, she could also go to any one of our YouTube channels and say that, we're bullying her. So, but, good for you that you do that. I haven't been. Not 20 says you're soothing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, let's see. Oh, wow. I fell really behind. I'm not gonna say it out loud. Oh, that's funny. Defenestrate says, "I've read many times that Megan was once overheard saying yes. I've heard that too. It's it's so evil. It's so evil." Lisbeth says, "Sorry, there would be a regency of four. Catherine would be one of the four." What does that mean, Lisbeth? Because this brings a lot of peace to my heart if this is true, because I was really stressed about that. Oh, Diamato says the same thing. "I thought a regent would be put in place if George was underage." What does that mean? Um, Honeybee says, "Why doesn't the government just remove their titles?" I have no idea. I really don't understand that. Um, yeah. Susan says, "Read that she will make up stories about her dad when he passes. That the Markles are making a doc, yeah, to document their narrative." Isn't that so sad? Yeah. Nina says, "I would find it hilarious if Harry took the throne temporarily and had to give it back." Yes, Zephyr. It's the line of succession that needs to be removed. Yes, not so much the titles. That's a very good point because what good is it if the titles are taken away, but then something really terrible happens and he ends up on the throne, right? Um, Koala says it means they have control of the monarchy until George comes of age, is my understanding. Okay, so it would be Catherine. And what if, I hate saying this, and what if it's not Catherine? Could it be somebody else? Um, okay, Lisbeth says the Regency is a council to advise him that would make policy. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Duchess of Camelot says, "I can't believe that I was a huge supporter of Meghan and Harry in the beginning." Same. Duchess of Camelot, same. Like, I stayed up and watched their wedding, and I was talking to my best friend, and my best friend's like, "I don't know, there's something I don't like about her." And I realize now that my best friend is a very good judge of character. Um, okay, Colton Cake says, "If George is under 18 when William passes, Harry would be placed as the Prince Regent." And I think that's what I was reading. That's what I was reading. Um, Lisbeth says, "Oh, sure, Princess Anne." Yeah. Mean Eileen says, "Will Prince Harry ever really see the throne?" Gosh, I hope not. Okay, the dictator says, which is funny that the dictator is funny, your username and what we're talking about. It makes me laugh. It says George becomes the Prince Regent and Catherine can stand in. Koala says, thanks to everyone for making it clear. I wasn't 100% clear. Yeah, same, same. Lizzie says, I knew that Markle was up to something during that engagement interview. There were so many red flags. Yeah. Melissa says, Anne could be 90 and using a walker, and she would still stand on business and kick Harry's behind. Yeah. Yeah. Nina says it would be so humiliating if if Harry, I hope it never happens, but Harry takes the throne and has to give it back. Yep. Lisbeth says, no, Harry is too far away. He's out. Yeah. Oh, mean Eileen. Oh my. Oh, cool. I missed your comment. He has 16 thrones in his home in Montecito. The dictator says Harry can only become king if William and all the kids pass over. Yeah, hopefully that never, ever, ever, ever happens. Rebecca says Harry would throw the biggest hissy fit if he had to give it back. Can you imagine? Yeah. Yeah. Dell says I never liked her in that $45,000 engagement dress with no bra. Interesting. Yeah. Margaret says, I think it would be the first 4 counselors of state, which means Harry would not come into the picture. The reason 2 extra counselors were put into place after Harry left. Elizabeth says George becomes king regent and the council advises him till he's 18, then he's the king. Interesting. Green says, hopefully William will take action day 1 of his reign. Alice says, don't worry, you do not skip over George to Harry. Catherine, Anne, and Edward and Camilla would be regent. Okay, that's good to know. Abertata says, I'm sure it was a compliment about your voice from your friend. Your voice is soothing, but so far not sleep-inducing. It's perfect. I need calm, but I'm still grading. Thank you, Abertasso. I definitely took it as a compliment. And it's funny, I totally forgot that it happened. And the next day I was on the phone with her and she's like, I'm so sorry I fell asleep on the phone with you. And I was like, oh yeah, don't even worry about it. No worries. Jackie says Meghan would rule over Harry if he was king. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. Can you imagine how many people she would push out of the way to stand in front? Oh goodness, that would be horrible. Nina says, I know this sounds heartless, but I don't think Lily and Archie should have titles at all. I don't know. I feel very, very sad for those kids. I don't know. Yeah. Lisbeth says the law says that Parliament chooses the next monarch. They go with the line of succession because it's easy. If the Wales were eliminated, they could choose any royal, and Anne would be great. That's interesting. That's good. Good to know. Oh, Diamato says in order for Harry to be a regent, he must reside in the UK. The irony of that, right? Like, Meghan, you can be queen, but you have to live in the UK or queen consort or whatever it would be. Oh my goodness. Yosoi says Catherine would be the best queen mother regent if anything happened to Wills in the next 7 years. She would put those 2 in their place so quick. She's so elegant and lovely. I absolutely love her, you guys. I do. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end the live stream for today. I want to thank you all so much for being here. It's always such a good time. Thank you so much for celebrating with me. Oh, you know what I forgot to tell you all? It's not just that I hit 25K on YouTube, but on X and on Instagram this month, I hit 10K. So it's 3 different amazing milestones. So I want to thank you all so much for being here. I love you all so, 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 so much. Yes, it was a great live. I love all of you. I hope you all have a very good night or day or morning or whatever time zone you're in. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.